Welcome back, everybody. I heard that Matt Cardona is making a animated Christmas special, and it reminded me to make another wonderful video of Hasbro pre-production wrestling. So let's dive into it. This will be a short video talking about some of the original internal artwork that was utilized to make the wonderful action figure line of WWF Wrestling. So we're going to start off the bat with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. This is a mold sheet. So every figure has a mold line, and this is where the top half and the bottom half of the steel molds come together and the plastic is injected into the toy. This is where they sat back and said, where are the mold lines going to be for the steel mold? How is it going to be applied? What's the best pressure points? Because it's not just about creation of the toy, it's also about the durability of the toy. You can also see the pegs, or as they refer to them as the mushroom, that holds the arms and the lower legs and the head together to the torso. These need to be thick enough to have the toy be durable for playwear. If they're too thin, the figure is going to break. And of course, with wrestling toys, these toys are going to go through a beating. So this is Hasbro deciding what's the best process for creating the final molds for Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And here we have one of the Bushwhackers. This is actually a rough sketch. Even though it looks beautiful, it is detailed, it looks final to me, it still is a rough sketch. The expression on his face is one that we all know. It's that moment you realize that Chipotle was a bad idea. But yeah, it's a beautiful piece, and then this would be shown to the head of the art department or the head of the wrestling department, and they would say yes or no, make these alternate changes to it, and then the final artwork would be developed, and then that would be the sculpting input that the sculptors would use to sculpt the actual figure. Down here you can see the condition issues. A lot of this artwork usually doesn't survive. Its purpose is just to guide the process to creating the toy. And once that purpose is done, there's really no need for it. So a lot of this stuff usually gets destroyed. And we're just lucky to have that some of these pieces did survive, but there will always be some condition issues because these were just part of the process. They weren't meant to be kept by collectors, let alone be in collectors' hands, let alone be displayed. So here we have Sean. So this is an actual final sculpting input sheet. This sheet is the original artwork, and then this would be photocopied, and a few of them would be made, and they would be sent out. Some will be backup, and then may it be an internal Hasbro sculptor, may it be an outsourced sculptor, would receive one of those copies and be the hired person and use that to sculpt the actual figure. But in this case, it's just the head. As you can see, it's stating that they're going to be reutilizing Marty's body, and you're just going to be using Sean's head. So there is no need to actually draw out the rest of his body. It's just kind of more of a waste of time. And it's kind of sad because you would like to have this piece to be a fantastic display piece with a full-bodied representation of Sean, but this is just how it is. And you have to accept when you collect original toy artwork that some of these pieces will never be just as perfect representations all the time. This is as good as it's going to get. He does look like he's a severed head with a ghost body, so it's kind of creepy in that fact. But hey, it's still a wonderful piece, and I'm very happy to have it. Down here, we have the other Bushwhacker. And again, this is the conceptual pre-production artwork before it became the final sculpting input. Again, absolutely beautiful piece. Full body, all the angles, and the floating arm, which would match up to the middle artwork piece. And then we have our friendly favorite, Rody Piper. This is a really interesting piece. So again, this is a preliminary sketch, though it looks very finalized to me. all the original conceptual sketches look very close to the production sketches, let alone the production figure. This Rody Piper just doesn't have that look, that feel. I think it's because you just don't see him smiling. He just looks like he's pissed off and had a really bad day and also kind of just sad. And that's what this is about. So this artist came in, drew this piece out, and then everyone looked at it from Hasbro and said, hey, there's something off about this piece. Let's make him smile. So you can see in the final figure, he's smiling. There's more of an adjustment there, and it was for the better. This is a great demonstration of just why this process is really important, from the preliminary sketches to the final sketches. And again, it's Rody Piper. Hell yeah. And he's beloved not just for his wrestling, but also for his movie career. Moving down, we have Ted DiBiase. Look how suave he is. Look at that jacket, man. I want that jacket now. I want to look that badass. But only he can look that badass in that jacket. Again, all preliminary, but still very close to final production. Again, the floating head syndrome. So this is Big Boss Man. The first version that came out had his sunglasses on, and then for the next release, they released him without his sunglasses. And that's all they needed, just a new head sculpt. So this is the final sculpting input sheet. And I just love the fact how they get really into letting the sculptor know what needs to be done. Go for the very angry, wide-eyed, menacing grit teeth expression. Anger, power, tensed up, ready to club, which I think is hilarious. When I first read that, I thought he went clubbing, like going out to the clubs. No more sunglasses. Now he's ready to do some serious clubbing. And then I was like, oh yeah, his club as the policeman club. And again, not all these artwork will be wonderful full body pieces of art. So here we have Sid Justice, torso and head, much more refined details, some shadowing involved. I like this one a lot because it pops more. It is a 93 versus these were all 1989, 1990 pieces from the earlier part of the series. Sid, same thing. It says it'll be using the overhead body slam mechanism, which is from the Hulk Hogan. Eyes appear to be sunken, very serious look in the face. So when the sculptor has these sheets next to them to help sculpt the actual head or full body of the figure, they'll also have additional photos of the wrestler themselves to assist. And at times, very rarely, you'll find the actual sculpting packet. So these, again, are the original artwork. These would be photocopied, and at times we found for not just Hasbro, WWF, we found for other toy lines the actual file folder, which will have the photocopy of the sculpting input, including additional supplementary photos of angles of the body, the character, the face, everything. And those are really cool to find because you get to see all the details of what went into making the figure. And then the greatest of all the sculpting inputs that you can find is the actual one that was used. So as I mentioned already multiple times, these would be photocopied. So there will be backups of these, and then there'll be the one that was actually used for the sculpting. And you can figure out which one that is because a number of times we've pulled out, let's say, Bucky O'Hare or Pirates of Dark Water, and the sculpting input sheet will literally have wax droplets all over the sheet because that was the one the sculptor was looking at as he sculpted the toy right in front of it. So that one's like the historical sculpting input sheet. That means a lot more. And those are just... So we'll talk about those in the future. We're going to wrap up right now the video. I try to keep these things about 10 to 15 minutes. But as you guys can guess, we will come back to wrestling again. We have quite a lot of just wrestling stuff here. So thank you very much for watching. And we will get back to more pre-production stuff of all toy lines. But we need to keep crushing the 400 tub videos for now.